here we're looking at the BMU of the archetypes. BMU standing for the base matrix unit, which is also the overlay to the hollow mind perceiver that contains numbers and codes as it pertains to your galactic signature and what you're here on the planet to do. Now, these archetypes that we see in the form of BMU numbers are not new to us. We've known them before on other worlds, okay? So this is not just something relegated to just simply Earth. We want to talk about right now the galactic signatures. What are our signatures? We know what our signatures are when we begin to speak them. But as the Earth changes, so do we. And in this time space, we no longer will be the same human. Our DNA is being upgraded, and we're undergoing a fundamental shift from the third dimensional realm of personality to the fourth dimensional archetypal or mystic realm. Now, as far as the mystic realm and the ladder, we can look over to the right and we can see that our galactic signature is what opens up the portals for us. This is what our work comes in at. You want to know, what am I supposed to be doing? Get into your galactic signature. What does it say? Because that's the gateway or the portal to your galactic archetype. Now, this is something I have to go over because it's all a part of the cosmic science and the law of time. And that is how to find someone's guide if you had to. Everything is on, in the apps now and things like this. But if anybody ever asks you, you want to know what you're talking about. When we look at numbers 1, 6, and 11 here at the top, we know that those numbers are always going to have the same solar seal. 2, 7, and 12, which is the next three numbers, you're going to have to go 12 seals forward from the destiny seal in order to find out what the guide is. If it's 3, 8, and 13, you go 4 seals ahead of the destiny cross. Never count your galactic signature. You're just going to simply go 4 ahead. 1, 2, 3, 4. Same way with 4 and 9, we're going to go 4 seals back from the destiny seal. And 5 and 10, we're going to go 8 ahead from the destiny seal. And that's how that goes. It's just something that you may not be tested on, but it's still good to know it in case somebody come along and ask you a question. To the left of the screen is what we call radioplasmas. We don't say Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Instead, we say Dolly, Celli, Gamma, Kali, Alpha, Limi, and Cilio. These are the radioplasmas in a heptad. What are their electrical functions? I mean, what is it that they do? What is it that they specialize in? Target, the thermic force. My father is intrinsic awareness. I feel the heat. What about Sully? What is its specialty? Luminic force, that's Dumdwar flow. My mother is the ultimate sphere. I see the light. What about Gamma? Pacify. Yes, the luminic light. My lineage is the union of intrinsic awareness and the ultimate sphere. I attain the power of peace. What about Kali? Established. My name is the glorious lotus born. I catalyze the light heat within. So we're on Alpha. Alpha is to release. And that's going to be my country. It's the unborn ultimate sphere. Unborn meaning beginningless beginning and endless end. And I release the double extended electron at the South Pole. And then we have Limi, which is to purify. That's the mental electron. And I consume dualistic thoughts as food. I purify the mental electron at the North Pole. Last but not least, what is Cilio? Bam, discharge. That's what we're doing. We're discharging the mental electron neutron. So that we begin to say, now, my role is to accomplish the action of the Buddha. I discharge the mental electron neutron at the center of the earth. Let's go right on into the mental spheres. 6 plus 1. Now, earlier we defined the hollow mind perceiver as our seventh sense that opens up a whole new cosmic reality for us. And here we look at the location of the mental spheres on the hollow mind perceiver. We're going to start off with the first quadrant. It is called preconscious or the paranormal sphere. First time dimension, first mental sphere. How do we recognize our kicks? Our kicks could involve past lives. Then at the end, it doesn't have to, but most likely it will, okay? It also involves what occurred in our childhood that we may have blocked out, and now all of a sudden we remember, and we're going, damn, I remember now because it's coming online. And so I'm saying in order for us to know our mind, we got to understand that the mind we have is not really ours. We've been borrowing from the collective unconscious mind through family, their beliefs, through the religion, through media. Those aren't really our thoughts. In order for us to disengage from ourselves, from the unconscious thought, there's a pattern. Step one, and these are things we should write down. I'm going to ask you to do that. So we want to recognize, we have to do that and recognize when we're borrowing something from the artificial matrix. Number two, synchronization, by aligning our daily awareness with the archetype of the day, with what castle are we in, what heptad color are we in, these things. This is going to help us to harmonically line up with the frequency, with the right frequency, and it's going to dissolve the distortions, and it's going to restore our resonance with the greater reality. Number three, the third step is cultivation of the imaginal will. This means strengthening the capacity of mind to perceive beyond the senses. But in order to do that, we got to hold silence. We have to learn how to visualize. We have to attune to the noosphere. So the next step would be number four, the purification of our intentions. This is key. Why are we doing this? Each and every one of us ought to be able to answer that question, because the influx of this new information cannot be received by a mind that's grasping for power. Okay? You grasping, you trying to make a living off of this. You trying to have control. You want self-glorification. Oh, I'm the original Titan, this type of thing that don't mean nothing. So it can only be obtained by a mind purified through service to the whole. We have to make sure that when we do this, these practices in small degrees, our conditioned mind is going to loosen its grip so that these new frequencies can begin to stream in. But anytime we get into this area, which is the right back of the head, we know that the red dragon is over that. We also know it signifies or has the power of birth. And we've been birthed many, many times in many eras. We've been in many periods. Now we've birthed, after having all that experience, we're birthed on the earth into a family. And we've taken on the DNA of our pair of entities, which is our parents. We've taken on their beliefs, their physical aspects. You look just like your mama, We've taken on their biological functions and their allergies. The doctor might say, do you have a history of alcoholics in your family? Does anybody in your family have a history of heart disease or diabetes? They want to know all these things because they know about the DNA pairing. We also bring recordings that are on our essence gene, our karmic lessons, our old fears and phobias from a past life, from unfinished business that has to play out and complete itself in this life. We're not getting away with nothing because it's going to find you. Why? Because in the first dimension, first mental sphere, it states what? My Father is intrinsic awareness. You ain't nothing getting past the Father. I feel the heat, right? So Yes, you do something in any life, it's gonna, if you didn't work it out, it's gonna follow you. It's gonna keep following you. You see it coming all around them. We don't know what little babies coming into the planet that's being birthed right now, what kind of stuff they got to go through. Okay, we're gonna go to nurture now, because many of us feel that we were not nurtured as properly or as fully as we think we should have been, which is why most of us grew up with the idea that either we weren't going to have no kids or we didn't plan on it, or we were determined not to let them go through the things and not have the things that we did growing up. So we're going to make sure they have everything, come hell or high water. That may not have worked out so great for some, and it may not have made a difference to others. So now we're going to go to the essence of the red dragon, which is simply to be. How have we been showing up in the world being? Now that we've come into the realization that we're on the planet, first and foremost, to help raise the vibrations of the earth, we are still dealing with the repercussions of our faulty indoctrinations. So we've come to the invisible library. We started off with the invisible library, saying how much it has for us. But these libraries are living fields of encoded memory that's for us. They're stored as a time release in specific locations, and they give out vibrations that are beneath the threshold of ordinary perceptions. When you start talking like this to the average person, be like, damn, you too deep. You know, they don't want to talk about it, they don't want to go there, and they don't want to, because it's an invisible library. They're not trying to hear that. But Dr. Jose Agrellas, we know him as Valoon Votan, wrote this in his ebook, quote, "We are taught to think linear, which is down the road. But how will our outlook change if we begin to think radially, which is just in a circular manner? And how is that circular manner? It's starting off with the 1320. What is the archetype of the day? What is the heptad that we're in? What are the numbers? What numbers are calling out to me that are just there? I'm looking at it on the clock. I see it on the billboard. It's on my watch. What castle are we in? All these things. It's thinking all the way around. And when you do that, and keep doing it, you will begin to see synchronicities. You begin to see doors that you didn't even see that were open before. Okay, nobody else can see it but you, because it's your door to walk through. And then everybody want to know why you got the blessing. What's up with you? How you know so much? I hope it gives you clues regarding your past life and your childhood experiences, because I want you to throw out the idea that you only lived as a Black person. All right. Throw out the idea that we identify with only our indoctrinations and that's how it's supposed to be. No. You hear people saying, well, this is the only life we live. Or, I'm going to live this life because I ain't guaranteed you when you're dead, you're done. No. That's collective unconscious thinking. We have to be open-minded regarding our Akashic records. That's also part of the invisible library. Our Akashic records are screaming out to us through our attractions. What is attracting you? What are your affinities? Where do you like to travel? What are your disciplines? You're like, wow, I'm so disciplined in this area. How did I get like that? How can it be that I feel so comfortable by myself? I don't mind it. I don't care. Could it possibly be that I've done time in another life? I'm just throwing it out there, right? What are your interests? And so forth and so on, because there's a lot to contemplate.